ICCI, the Malaysian International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, with a Crow. This is a Crow Expert Hour. Hello, I am Sean Chia, the Executive Director of the Malaysian International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, longest established chamber in Malaysia, championing businesses since 1837. We are more than 180 years old. Are we tired? No. We will continue to keep our member up to date as part of our services to bring knowledge to our members. So before we start, let's have some housekeeping rules. Those that have logged in from Facebook, you can ask your questions via the comment section. Then I will present the questions to the speaker. Those that are on Zoom, you put it into the chat group and I'll pick it up from there. All right. Without further ado, today's topic is tax compliance for the blue-collar foreign workers, foreign employees. Well, we always have a thought that, you know, as an employee, especially a blue-collar worker, everything is all taken care of. There's not much that you have to worry about because there is some PCBs, the pay-as-you-earn tax. But there might be something that employers should be aware of. You have to understand that there's some need to comply with the Malaysian laws. Okay. Foreign workers will need to comply with certain tax laws, and it is also the responsibility of the employer and the foreign employees to be aware of this. As such, in this live Zoom webinar, we have from Crow Global Mobility Services Director, Ms. Mona Lisa Muhammad Ali. She will share with you the overview of the Malaysian tax relating to such foreign employees and some of the common mistakes that may lead to the risk of non-tax compliance. Ms. Mona Lisa, are you ready?
All right,
okay.
Yes.
I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks. Let me share the screen first. Okay, hold on. Can you see the full screen, Sean?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you. Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate the introduction. It's great to be speaking with you, with all of you today. Right. So today's topic is about tax compliance for blue-collar foreign employees. Right. I also, before we start, maybe I want to have a quick one to thank to all MCCI team, Sean and the team for organizing this live Zoom webinar. Okay, so today I will be your speaker. This topic is interesting topic. Okay, it's about the foreign workers. So before we begin, actually I have a question that you need to tell me the answer, maybe, all right, in that chat box, or maybe, I believe that you handle the foreign workers. But do you know about the tax compliance for this group of employee? Is it yes, you know 100% about their tax compliance for foreign workers, or don't know, or not sure? Okay, so maybe I will say that the answer may be yes, maybe no, and some says not so sure, but those important part I did. Okay, so I believe that this topic is really good topic for you if you handle the foreign workers, or even you'll be able to convey the message to them, all right, so that they may comply with the Malaysian tax law. So please, all right, bear with me until to the end of this session. So let's start with the content for today's session. All right, so as Sean already explained, I will cover on the overview, all right, the tax compliance for foreign workers, and of course, what will be the responsibilities for the employer and also the foreign employees, meaning the foreign worker itself. Then after that, after I already end that, okay, I will go to the Q&A session. I will try to answer your questions, Okay, then if the time is not permit, maybe you can email me at monalisa@crow.my. All right, I will appear. There will be a slides there, details at the end of the session that you can snap picture. Okay, then do email me on your queries. Okay, so all right, we go and understand what will be this blue collar foreign employees. Okay, when we talk about the foreign employees, okay, this is one of the category where the blue collar is. I believe you've seen this sticker. Okay, this sticker for the foreign workers. Okay, this is for the issued by the Malaysian Immigration Department under the temporary, all right, employment. Okay, so just a brief meanings about the foreign workers. I mean the blue collar workers is actually a working class person who performs manual labor. Okay, as you may be aware, all right, Malaysian government draws a distinction between the blue collar or white collar for foreign employees. Okay, so that's why you can see that it's either a skill, all right, the skill foreign workers, or is a skill workers, right? So for blue collars workers, normally when we look at the sectors, right, they work in the manufacturing, construction, plantation, agriculture, and also services. Okay, then of course this apply for the temporary employment pass. And when we have another category of foreign employees, which is the expatriate, okay, those expatriate involved in a white collar, all right, white collar where the high skill job, right, they need a certain limit criteria to be an expatriate and apply for the employment pass and also the professional visit pass. So for the employer, you may need to make sure that you apply the correct pass for if you actually hiring or bring people into Malaysia to work with you. Okay, so I believe that you now understand who are the blue collar foreign workers or foreign employees. If you can see, for example, all right, that is from Bangladesh, Pakistan, work with the minimum wage of 1,200. Okay, I would say effective February 2020, and perhaps that this is the national minimum wage, okay, for them and also the Malaysian. So if you can see, all right, in Mamak stall example in the restaurant, if you can see these people from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and now you know they are foreign workers and they are not expatriate. Okay, please don't call them expats. Okay, so even though they're actually as a foreign workers, they have their obligation towards our nation by right, because they work here, they earn the money here, but then they bring back the money to their countries. So what happened to Malaysia's revenue? So that's why this topic is really good topic to share. So why not we see what will be that you should know about the individual's tax. Okay, now Malaysian income tax for the individuals actually applies to all individuals and not specifically mentioned for certain category or status of the employment of these individuals. Is either a Malaysian citizen, or is a local employees itself, or is a foreign employees to the expatriate or even the foreign workers. All right, so it's basically it's applying to all, which is the rule of thumb that we need to see it. Yeah, the law, of course, apply for the whole holistic, yeah, but in certain concession or tax exemption may be given, okay, to the categories of employees, I would say. Okay, so that's why, all right, it's not easy to just simply say, oh, these are foreign workers, no need to comply with any tax because their threshold is actually just minimal, etc., etc. But are you sure and confirm about that? Okay, so because there is no differentiate between local employees or even foreign employees, so we need to understand what will be the rules and regulation. So maybe I just want to share. Malaysia is actually a territorial scope of taxation. Okay, our scope of taxation is really, I would say, only between territorial of Malaysian only. Okay, so meaning that any income will be subject to Malaysian tax if the income is accrued in or derived from Malaysia. Okay, so the source of remuneration for the services is rendered, unfortunately, okay, generally the place where the service are performed. So meaning that the source of remuneration is for the service is generally the place where the services are performed. You perform the job in Malaysia, all right? So is where that you already need to be taxed. Okay, the place where the remuneration is paid or where the employment contract is signed is not relevant, even though it's signed in other country. But then this person is actually physical here in Malaysia and perform the work, then this person liable to tax in Malaysia. Okay, so when, for example, just a simple example, if we look for these foreign employees, okay, foreign workers come over, employer bring in all the individuals from Bangladesh, Indonesia to work with you in Malaysia. They are physical here, they actually do the work for you, perform the work, and you paid, all right, their services, meaning that, of course, they need to liable to individuals tax. Okay, so if a case where, another case where, okay, if you do have the employees actually perform work in Malaysia, but unfortunately their salary, or certain benefit actually paid from their home country. Okay, so against this area, we need to be very careful and to see what will be the analysis of this assignment. Okay, we need to understand the assignment itself. So if the person, like the octopus, okay, if octopus, you need to imagine the octopus, the body and the head in Malaysia, but then the leg, the hand actually outside Malaysia. So meanings maybe, the contract has been signed in Singapore, then the payroll has been ministered at United Kingdom, but the body and the person actually is work in Malaysia. So you need to think about it. If this person is physical here, actually performing work here, and Malaysia has a right to tax this person, unless there is a few assumption will be drawn under the Malaysian provision. Okay, so that one is based on the case by case. So Malaysia actually introduced the self-assessment system with effect from year of assessment 2004. So under this assessment system means that is the assessment is deemed to be made by the authorities on the day on which the return is submitted. Meaning that, okay, you submit your tax return, you report it, is considered deemed. You need to self-declare. Okay, so you need to self-declare and they will accept it as a deemed. You already made that assessment. Okay, so effective 2004. So our basis period, which is Malaysian basis period based on the calendar year, 1st January up to 31st December. So if the individuals, okay, or these foreign workers start work in Malaysia, example in April, until the contract for 182 days, or maybe 1 year contract, more than 182 days contract. So basically the contract for employment, the temporary pass actually is 1 year, correct? 1 year, then you need to renew, and then you need to renew until, if I'm not mistaken, until 10 times. Okay, so now if this situation, okay, as long as the person actually arrive in Malaysia, start performing work in Malaysia any days in the calendar year, so all the income needs to be start and kicks report from that date until this person leave Malaysia, or will be as at 31st December of the calendar year. So 12 months, okay, how long this person will be in, you need to report that. Okay, our Malaysian tax filing for individuals and payment, actually, those are with employment income or even passive income, at the deadline will be 30th April. So 30th April, and if the individuals actually have a business income, will be 30th June. So for the foreign workers who actually chargeable to tax, they need to file a return, which is the deadline actually 30th April. Okay, so that is a grace period. Okay, the grace period actually, if you file your tax return via e-filing system, the IRB says, the Inland Revenue says, I grant I grant you the grace period until 15 days from 30th April. Okay, so it's similar like the payment as well. But if you actually do it by post, they will allow only 3 working days after 30th April. If you do it by hand, original hard copy submit to the counter, and is considered no grace period. The deadline is 30th April. All right. So we move on to understand what is actually the income that's subject to tax in Malaysia. Then this is the class of income. If you have a business income, of course, dividend, but most of the dividend already a single tier, all right? So it's tax exempt. Rental, interest, royalties, annuities, employment. This is the part. Foreign worker receive employment income, right? Okay, the wage. Okay, then the premium, and of course others, which is not fall under this, but is the value or some of the gains or profit received by you. You need to report to the Malaysian tax. Okay, so of course we need to understand on the resident status. If you do have a foreigners, so it's similar like the foreign workers. Okay, even in local individuals, Malaysian local individuals, if you actually work overseas, all right, and stay overseas quite sometimes, then after that you come back again in Malaysia, you still need to understand your residence status. Is not based on your nationality or even citizenship. Okay, so even though you are Malaysian citizen, are you sure that you are tax resident in Malaysia? Okay, so if you really physical present here in Malaysia throughout the year, then after that, of course, you can qualify a resident. There is a 4 tests or 4 rules to qualify a tax resident. I will share with you in the next slide. Okay, so of course, how to determine this resident status? They will say, okay, based on the physical presence, where to get it, where to check? Of course, from the passport of the foreigners. Okay, so if your foreign workers, I believe, if you actually assign this person you take this person for 1 year contract example, and you want to continue, I believe you can give, 1 home leave, or maybe this person need to go back. Okay, so maybe the scenario that you need to see, is it this person you only apply for 1 year only, or is it you will continue, but somehow you may not sure, correct or not? So this is the critical part where you need to understand whether this person need to be taxed as a resident or non-resident. Okay, so if the person actually is a non-tax resident, meaning that the tax rate at the 30% from the income, there is no rebates, no tax relief, and it's not based on the graduated tax rate or scale rate, which is 0 to 30% like a resident. So that's why you really need to make sure that you determine the residency of your foreign workers as well. Are you confirmed this person can be resident? Okay, so this is where that you need to aware of. The rules in Malaysia, we have 4 rules to determine residency. As general, okay, normally if the person is physically present in Malaysia for 182 days in the calendar year, anytime from 1st January up to 31st December, meaning that anytime you in and out. If you have 182 days in that calendar year, you qualify as resident. Okay, what happened if you actually, have the employees, foreign employees come over to Malaysia in July, or maybe June maybe can be qualified resident. Okay, maybe in July, August, okay, October, maybe. All right, they can qualify this residency. This is a bit headache actually you need to determine. Is they can be qualified resident or not? Unfortunately, under the second rules, you are be able to determine and confirm your resident status if you present in Malaysia for 182 days, consecutive days, okay, which is linked to the preceding year or preceding years or following year. Meaning that every day from 1st July, okay, 1st January up to 1st July, all right, 182 days, you must be in Malaysia, is either following year or preceding year. Okay, then if you confirm and you really have a physical present of 182 days, okay, then you can qualify tax resident under Section 71B. If not, if you go up from Malaysia for more than 14 days for social visit, then you breach the rules already. There is a condition to analyze this area. Okay, so another one will be C, 71C, the third one. If you physical present in Malaysia for 90 days and more, and 3 or 4 preceding years, meaning that prior years, 3 or 4, you are resident or present in Malaysia for 90 days. So then you can qualify. And another one, the last test will be, if you resident for 3 immediate preceding years, okay, you resident for 3 immediate preceding years, but in the tax year itself, you actually not a resident or maybe not touch base at all in Malaysia. But following year, you will qualify a resident. So in that year that you are not in Malaysia, okay, you still can qualify under this fourth rule. Okay, so a bit technical, I would say. So unfortunately, if you do have a foreigners, you need to understand this. There is a public ruling actually published in the IRB's website, okay, Inland Revenue Board website, then you can have a look under resident status. Okay, so why we need to understand all this, like I said just now, if you actually have a foreigners or foreign workers is a non-resident, the flat rate 30% needs to apply. Okay, then if a resident, okay, the scale rate up 0 to 30%. And for those residents can claim those personal reliefs and rebate. I believe that you are aware, for example, that lifestyle relief, you know, for self relief, spouse relief, and child relief. But for non-resident, they're not entitled. And similar with the rebates, and also the rebates, if the chargeable income is actually less or equals to 35,000 a year, meaning that this person are eligible to rebates. But for non-resident, no. Okay, it's already have a flat rate of 30%. So to determine, once you already know the resident or non-resident, actually you need to get the correct tax file. Where is the form? You need to file the form BE, which is for resident who earns employment income of passive income. If the individuals is having a business income, you need to file a form B. But for those are non-resident, if either have an employment income, business income, or passive income, need to file form M. So that's why you really need to understand the residency of the individual so that you know the compliance. Okay. So when we talk about that, after we talk about all that concept, we go to the gross employment income. Is really, I would say that all foreign employees or even foreign workers we are talking about for today's discussion, I would say that they will receive wages. Correct or not? Okay. And maybe I can pretty sure that not only, all right, the employer not only provide the national minimum wage, which is 1,200, but also maybe receive shift allowance, overtime meal allowance, attendance allowance, laundry allowance. If these foreign workers is very tip-top performance, example, the employer may give bonus, may give increments, incentive payments, correct or not? And maybe the employer actually, will give the benefit on the leave passage to bring these people. Okay, you want to go home to your home country, then after that you come back work. Yeah, I give you 1 year the home leave usage. Well, is this one of the benefit? Okay, so what else? The common one: accommodation, hostel, house, service. I'm not sure whether you have a service apartment to park all the foreign employees there. Okay, but normally hostel or even apartment. One house, you park 10 people inside. The company is providing the living accommodation. So taxable or not taxable? Okay, when we count all that, do you think that the income is chargeable to tax? Okay, so that's why we need to understand the component of the income itself. So cash remuneration, okay, benefit in kind, living accommodation. If you take all this, right, roughly total a year, if single individuals earn, okay, total earn 1 year, 37,333 single. All right. If you receive it more than this, meaning that you are chargeable to tax. So bear in mind, look back whether your foreign workers actually is not chargeable to tax. Okay. So, and of course, if this person or this employee actually, I mean the foreign workers, suddenly abscond, contract 1 year, but suddenly abscond, do you know that the tax at the 30% flat rate? So this is where the critical parts comes in. Who will bear? So of course, unfortunately, if you state in the agreement, all right, to say that the individual is paying tax or something, you know, or maybe the employer paying tax, but at the end of the day, the company or the director of the company will liable for all the outstanding taxes for foreigners. Okay, so this is where that you need to understand the income that you provide to the foreign workers. Is it taxable or not taxable? And is it, if already taxable, of course, they need to subject to monthly tax deduction. Okay, so that's why you need to understand this income so that you can do, okay, what's next step? What will be the rules or what will be the tax compliance for foreign workers that I need to do? Okay, so this will be the holistic tax compliance life cycle. You have foreigners, is expatriate, or even is a foreign workers. The tax compliance cycle is similar. The difference is only operational part where to determine this person will be chargeable to tax or not. Okay, you as employer and also the individual, by right, they must be the individual, I would say a foreign workers. Somehow, you know, you say that, oh, foreign workers, if you talk to them, they don't understand. Okay, they will ignore it. So you as employer, unfortunately, at the end of the day, you need to liable for all the tax matters. Okay, so when you see this life cycle, first of all, of course, when this person come over to Malaysia, the commencement, okay, commence work in Malaysia. When you settle off all the immigration related matters and you have a correct pass to them, okay, then I believe that foreign workers are not allowed to change the employer or even sectors unless it's approved, has been obtained, approval has been obtained by the Ministry of Home Affairs. This is what I understand, but I believe that you are more aware of about all these area because you are handling this as foreign workers, I would say. Okay, so immigration part settle. Okay, bring in these people, one group, about 40 people, 50, one shot, come over to Malaysia to perform work in the plantation. Okay, so in the plantation, you provide the cabin or maybe you provide the house. Okay, I mean the hostel or whatever in the plantation area. So meanings that, okay, you already settle and do whatever necessary to bring in these people for them to work for you. What will be your obligation now? Do you need to file tax registration? Okay, so tax file registration actually is the individual's responsibilities. Okay, individuals' responsibilities to register their own tax return, tax income, okay, tax file number, if the income is chargeable to tax. Okay, so is the point, the important part here to obtain the file number, because when the employer deducts the monthly tax deduction, you already have the income tax file number. Okay, so this one part. If it's chargeable to tax, you need to file to get the tax number. If not chargeable to tax, it's okay for you not to get the file number. But as the employer, unfortunately, you need to file and notify the Inland Revenue Board, all right, the commencements of these foreign employees, foreign workers, either is chargeable to tax or not. Unfortunately, when we talk about foreign workers, okay, I did clarify from few branches, okay, about this obligation. Employer need to submit CP22 when you have a foreign workers, okay, and you need to label for them if either is illegal foreign workers or legal foreign workers. Too bad. I would say that I'm checking, and also based on our experience dealing for foreign workers, assisting our client, okay, based on 10 branches, I can say that 7 or 8 of them actually advise, file, notify them via CP22. Notify these employees even though it's not chargeable because they are foreign workers. Wow. Okay. Then this is their operation. Then this need to be clarified based on your situation. Yeah. But then this is what the IRB normally says, oh, foreign workers, you notify CP22. And if they're chargeable to tax, commence MTD like usual. Then I believe so also already implement that the foreign workers need to pay that, right? To pay SOCSO, correct? Okay, so that's why you need to commence the MTD. Based on what? The income just now, what you give to these foreign workers. If these foreign workers are non-resident, of course, 100%, 30% tax flat rate, done. Go to the income tax. Okay, if you are not be able to identify, better go for non-resident rate, flat rate. If you very confirm and certainly confirm, okay, I just do it as a resident because the contract as employment contract or the employment pass granted more than 182 days. Okay, so kicks in the MTD. Include what? Including all the BOLA, which is the living accommodation, if the benefit or incentive or whatever allowances that this individual receive, why we should differentiate foreign workers with local employees. So, you know, so that's why, all right, maybe there is a protection in the, when you bring in the foreign workers, I believe the government have to, okay, protect them. I know, but for Malaysian tax purpose, okay, this is the rules, right? Now, as the employer, even though they are foreign workers, you need to issue the EA, because the EA also there is no cap or minimum charges you need to issue if you pay them, right? You pay them which allowance, whatever, you need to issue the EA. The deadline of EA you need to submit is 28 February. Passed already. Even though our local employees also still yet to receive it. Correct or not? Some of it, I may say all. Okay. But the deadline is that. Okay. So what else? You need to include all these foreign workers, even though it's chargeable to income tax or not, because there is no more threshold income in terms in reporting of the Form E of the CPAD. There is no threshold effective 2016. All right. No threshold because last time there is a threshold of 35,000 and below, no need to complete this. But unfortunately, Now, also, okay, you need to report all the details of your employees, foreign workers, expatriate, part-timers, interns, employees, directors inside the Form E. There is no more threshold. Okay, so of course, when you already know the individuals, which is the foreign workers actually chargeable to tax, the most important part, this person need to file his or her tax return. Okay, so need to file tax return if chargeable to tax. All right, then if actually maybe cannot qualify tax resident, then you need to file tax because they have an income need to be reported here in Malaysia. Then of course, the individuals need to settle the tax due. Wow, if need to file this tax return, foreign workers don't know how to do. So who will liable? The manager or the person in charge of this group of foreign workers, you need to enlighten them, or you need to take up these rules and responsibilities. Because at the end of the day, go around anywhere you want to run away, at the end, the director of the company will liable to any penalties or outstanding taxes. Right? So this is what you need to do if you have foreign workers. Okay, then when the next year, okay, the first year contract, okay, then you want to continue the contract. Next year, consider a regular year for this person to file return, and you as the employer as usual needs to deduct NTD, prepare EA, include the details of these foreign workers in the form E. Then you need to file the EBE or EM for these foreign workers, or even the foreign workers do it themselves if they're chargeable to tax, and settle the tax payment. If you settle out their tax, then there is another part of income that you need to report, because you pay tax for anyone or any employees, right? This income need to bring to tax again, okay, for the following year. So, cost to the employer. So how you want to manage this? Okay, so the critical part is where the employees, foreign employees or foreign workers cease employment or maybe abscond. There is a lot of abscond case. Okay, so what you need to do when this cease? First, immigration, you need to settle. Of course, immigration part, you need to settle with immigration. Tax part, please don't leave it. Okay, so tax, that's why Malaysia needs revenue. Okay, so this is where that you need to be very careful when this person cease the contract or cease the employment or abscond. I believe that inside the what to say in the contract or rules to say that if this person abscond for 7 days, is for example, you need to do something as employer. Correct or not? You need to notify this, then to clear off whatever relating to these employees or these foreign workers, I would say. Okay, so settle out the immigration part. And if abscond case also should be similar. Okay, so settle out with the immigration. Then what you need to do for tax? Okay, so for tax, unfortunately, for foreigners leaving country permanently, which is you are not sure, okay, you need to file CP21, which is the leavers form, and you need to obtain the clearance letter for these foreign workers. Ya kah? Is it like that? We don't know, because normally these people are not chargeable to tax. So why we need to inform and also report those income and get the clearance letter from the IRB and get notify this P21? Okay, again, based on experience, when we check 10 branches, I would say 9 of it actually request employer to file CP21 and also obtain the clearance letter. Yeah, even though chargeable or not chargeable, you don't mind, because you not be afraid. No need to afraid for, because it's your obligation on CP21. Okay, because even though this person chargeable to tax for foreign workers, unfortunately, okay, they needs that CP21, okay, to know what is the income that this person receive, and when this person start working in Malaysia. They want to see all the filing from beginning of the year until this person left Malaysia. Okay, because they're trying to get the revenue that not reported to Malaysia. Okay, so again, during that cessation years, you need to include in the E. Okay, include them in the form E, file the tax return of these individuals and obtain clearance letter and do the tax settlement, then done. Okay, so this is the life cycle overall. Okay, so there is a concession on the MTD part only for foreign workers. MTD part only is not the employer's obligation to notify them come over to Malaysia when sees what you need to do. There is a concession for MTD only. Okay, this is where the IRB's feedback and where the discussion with the Chartered Tax Institute of Malaysia, okay, they ask about concession because they say, okay, the concession actually, they say, if you need to identify the risk consideration, okay, if you are not be able to deduct the rest, if you are not be able to determine resident status, that's it, go to non-resident. Okay, non-resident rate. So the employer needs to liable for any compound offence due to non-compliance with the tax law. And the concession applies to all sectors. Okay, so if you can see again with the letter, okay, you can read the letter, okay, in bahasa and also come some of the very quick one. Okay, they say all these concession actually is not only applied to MEF members or even to FMM members. They apply to all sectors in Malaysia. Okay, so this concession, if the person actually have a contract of 182 days, the employment pass for 182 days, you can tax this person as a resident rate. But if you're not sure, maybe this person first time you take them, maybe, all right, and you're not sure on the resident whether this person will end the contract before 1 year, so please go ahead with non-resident rate. This is where that the IRB says. Okay, so when you uncertain, you need to deduct the tax at 30% flat rate. Okay, so this is when that the IRB say, okay, I give this concession to all sectors, right? Not only for FMM members or the MEF members. Okay, last time they have this grant. Okay, the other sectors need to report as usual for those have foreigners. Okay, so but I believe since the threshold may be lower, so that they not bring to tax on the MTD. But bear in mind, are you referring to which only? Because just now you know that the benefit, the allowances, the incentive, bonus, whatsoever, okay, on the accommodation as well, also needs to be taxed. Okay, so you need to determine this so that you know what you need to do next. Okay, so let's move on to the employer and also the foreign employees' responsibility. Okay, just pick up the common issues here. Absecon case. The foreign workers left like that without notifying. Okay, so, and not returned after, maybe it's not returned back to work after this person go back to the country of origin. I think it's normal. Correct or not? And suddenly you bring them back, okay, then you wait them to come back. Then suddenly they never come back. So this is where the absecon case. So what you need to look at. So go back to the tax compliant life cycle under cessation year. Okay, you need to notify, okay, the absecon. Okay, and what else? You need to do those necessary. filing, still need to file a tax return if needed to obtain clearance. Okay, so those are common mistake, I would say, on the apps are common. Most of the employer don't know. Just leave it like that. Okay, please be very careful on this because tax authority already issued the tax audit framework for employer. They did highlight on the employer's obligation. So this is where that you need to look this area seriously. Okay, so payroll management, you need to report accurate income and have a proper record, especially on benefit in kind, on the accommodation, and even overtimes or allowance. Okay, for these foreign workers. Okay, accommodation is so bad because I have one house, then share with 10. Company provide free. Yeah. So if the company provide free on this accommodation, under the individuals by right is being taxed, is taxable. You need to share that value among the 10 of the foreign workers. Report it in the EA accordingly. When you top up that amount at the end of the year, these foreign workers actually receive more than 37,333 ringgit Malaysia. So why you not pay tax for them on behalf, or maybe why you not deduct the tax from them? Okay, so this is another area that you need to look at. Then what's about the tax obligation for employer? Okay, so employer needs to adhere to all the tax obligation towards the foreign workers. Okay, during the assignment, meaning that if this person come in and still here, what you need to do, and when this person no more, meaning that leave Malaysia, okay, left Malaysia already. So you need to know your obligation as the employer. And of course, by right, the employees, the foreign workers also must understand and know their obligation. The immigration procedure, there's one of it. Okay, the foreign workers are allowed to work in Malaysia, all right, on a yearly basis, up to 10 years. So you can renew it, correct? Contract can renew until 10 time under the temporary employment pass, all right? So you need to make sure that you need to do the renewal if you want to continue, okay, before the pass has been expired. Okay, so I just want to share with you on the tax point, especially relating to the part of the foreigners or foreign workers in Malaysia. Under the section 83.4, this is very powerful section for all employer. Okay, so they want to inform you. Okay, now what you need to do if the individuals depart from Malaysia? You need to notify the Inland Revenue Board, okay, if this person permanently left Malaysia or this person leaving Malaysia or depart from Malaysia for more than 3 months, okay, then you need to notify the Inland Revenue Board not later than 30 days before this person expected depart from Malaysia. Wah, this is the condition, 30 days before contracts end. I'm sure you have a record for all your foreign workers when will be their expired contract or expired pass. So from there, you need to see and determine what will be your next action that you need to do to comply with the tax law 30 days before the date of departure, or if this person depart permanently, I would say. If they still continue contract, are you sure? Okay, if you still in continue contract, by right, no need to notify yet. Okay, so but if you actually, this person left or abscond, this is something that you need to do. Under the section 33.4, they says that the taxable employee who will leave Malaysia or intend to leave Malaysia for period exceeding 3 months. Of course, this is what that they're saying in the act. And the IRB have a accept, they give a such a concession, they accept a notice given less than 1 month for cessation if the DG, Director General, satisfy with the reason. Example, abscond. Okay, you don't know. Suddenly, I can't find this person. Then the project manager report to the HR. Then HR, oh, is it abscond already? Okay, so what you need to do? Quickly do it. Immediately do it. Okay, so what's the documents needed? Oh, this is the another critical part. Okay, so since abscond, we don't know, then maybe you can support with what? With the police report, or even you can support the immigration application that this person already left or abscond from Malaysia, okay, from the assignment. Okay, so this is where that you need to make sure the timing. You already know what you need to do now, right? Okay, so you know the contracts end, what you need to do next. And if this person abscond, then do it quickly, what you need to do. Okay, and the DG says, all right, DG may waive the requirement to notify if the employee is required to leave Malaysia at frequent interval in the course of his employment. Frequent intervals mean this person 2 weeks here in Malaysia, 2 weeks in Japan, 2 weeks here in Malaysia, 2 weeks in Singapore, 2 weeks in Malaysia, 2 weeks in other countries, I would say. And it's in and out, you know, or maybe I would say that if we go for foreign workers, I'm not pretty sure on this area, because foreign workers, if you assign for one contract, 1 year contract, this person needs to be work with you for the 1 year. Correct or not? Okay, but what if you do have a foreign workers who actually in board of shipping? This is something that you need to look at. What will be the tax compliance for this group of employees? So we need to understand the nature and the arrangement of the assignment of the employees so that we can fix with the tax compliance, what you need to do when they come in, what you need to do when they're still here in Malaysia, and what you need to do when this person left Malaysia. Okay, so for the case of depart from Malaysia or abscond, okay, when we talk with the IRB officer, okay, they say and they advise foreign workers notify, chargeable to tax or not is okay, because we want to see them. You must notify them, get the clearance letter, so that at the end of the day, you company, all right, or the director of the company will not be liable for any penalties or anything happen if something happened to these individuals. Maybe this person work with other company or with other employer. We don't know. Still using the past. Maybe, all right. So what you need to do is something that you need to cut it off, clean up, and put everything in your records. Okay, so this is the this will be the CP21, I would say. Okay, so that's why when we have a CP21, okay, you need to complete all the details of the foreign workers, and you need to put and report all the income that these foreign workers receive. And please, when you actually submit the CP21 and you want to get the clearance letter by right, you must withhold their salary. Okay, so I would say it's quite tough, okay, to withheld the salary. How about the case of abscond? You can't do that, correct or not? And if still needs to withheld salary, how long the IRB can get the clearance letter? IRB KPI, 14 days from the date of submission of complete documents. Okay, so if all the documents are complete and there is no issue relating to the tax that they need to assess from the beginning of this person in Malaysia until to the departure year, meaning that easy for them to issue the clearance letter. Okay, so based on our experience, all right, as long as the documents completed, we are able to get the 14 days as per KPI stated by the IRB. Okay, this is where that case by case basis. But if there is issue due to non-compliance, not submit tax return, um, wrong, certain income not reported. Okay, so there is a lot of documents request by the IRB to justify that, and it may prolong the process, maybe up to 3 months. Okay, yeah, that is the case. Okay, so if you still withheld that money, oh, something wrong, cannot, because we need to labor for the labor law as well, you know. Okay, so or maybe if something happened, how to we need to release this salary to them. So, but the government says you can release the money within 90 days from the date of you submit your application for clearance, notify cessation. Okay, you can release the money if you can't get the clearance letter from the IRB. So this is what they're saying. Okay, so this is where that I just want to share a bit, okay, in brief, only relating to the foreign workers. So I believe that you also have your own situation where you found that, you know, complication comes in where, right, first, the group of foreign workers actually managed by the project manager or somebody to assist. And all the data and record actually is not proper captured. Okay, and it's not linked to the HR example. And there is another scenario where, you know, some of the foreign workers are illegal, but the company paying and record that income part of the remuneration or salary for employees or staff. So, all right, this is where that you need to see again your process. Overall, your process, what you need to do to make sure that you fix into your SOP to comply with the tax law. Okay, so let's see how actually that we can help you here. Okay, when we talk about tax compliance, the most critical part for foreign workers only during departure year or absecon. We usually assist our client on this departure year only usually, where this under this situation we receive a lot of scenario or circumstances where different foreign workers have a different issues relating to tax. Okay, some of the sectors or the foreign workers actually earn more than local employees, I would say, because they have incentive, they have shift allowance, they have attendance allowance, something of that. So at the end of the day, these foreign workers 100% chargeable to tax, but the employer do nothing on behalf. That's why important for you to at least what? Deduct the MTD for all the income that received by these foreign workers. Then after that, notify those necessary, like I already explained with you under the previous slide, for the life cycle, tax compliance life cycle for foreign employees. Okay, so if you have issues relating to obtain the clearance or something that you don't know how to do, yes, we are able to assist you. Okay, so employers tax audit. Government, our tax authorities issued the tax audit framework for employer on and effective 1st October 2020. Just fresh from oven, I would say, even though already 1 year. Okay, because now it's 2022. What happened was, since our COVID pandemic still not end, and there is issue relating to, to interact with the employer, how to get the data, because all and most of the employees, okay, work from home, correct or not? So IRB also very hard to get the data and information to tap into all employees. But now, I'm pretty sure they're already looking at that area. So if you do have foreign workers chargeable to tax, you must comply with all the tax rules. You already filed your tax return on the employer's return Form E. If you have yet to file the Form E return, look back all your records and capture all the details in the CP8D of the employer's return. If our clients actually receive numerous audit, okay, relating to PCB, relating to the not notifying or non-compliance of the tax obligation for employer, okay, not notify new employee, not notify cessation, not notify termination, and this is where that the IRB come and audit, and we try to assist and deal with the IRB officer. We need to assess all the documents and we put in appeal, okay, and we do it. There is a situation also, it's not only wait until the IRB issue a letter, there is a situation where do a voluntary, okay, because inside the tax audit framework, they already stated they encourage, come, do voluntary. But even though you do the voluntary, unfortunately, they're not provide you as the employer for any reduced penalty. The penalty is still the same, which is 200 up to 20,000 per offense if you not notify CP22, CP21, CP22A. So that is the offense. And even your tax on your tax deduction for payroll, okay, is wrong reporting. The tax amount, the MTD amount actually, I would say maybe that month, okay, for that employee, maybe 3 employees, actually less. Okay, you report less tax. You deduct MTD lesser than the IRB computation. So even though 5 ringgit, even though it's cents, IRB still impose penalty of 200 ringgit minimum. 200 ringgit up to 20,000, they can do so. So per offense. So this is where the critical part you need to understand and to deal, how to deal with the IRB when you been audit. Okay, then of course, it's time for you to look at your internal SOP. Most of the organization, there is a different finance department, account department, HR department, payroll department, maybe payroll with HR together, okay? Then they have a project manager, they have a business unit, they have other. So if you can see that this area by, yeah, these different departments and different role, I would say. But when it comes to the government, to tax authority, when they want the documents, all the department or personnel of the department needs to work on it. Can you imagine that? If they ask about the accounts, give me the ledger. You pay this accommodation for who. Give me the ledger. What is the detail of this payment? They want to know the final, what? The financial account. Go to the finance ka? Or even accounts or audit, you know? So they will ask that. Then they want to know about, oh, this person, about the notifying, you not notify, the CP22, or go back to HR, go back to payroll personnel, maybe. And they want to know more about the group of employees work. At the end, you need to find who's the manager in charge for this project or this group of foreign workers. So all of you needs to search around the world within the firm or organization, okay, to find all these people so that you can obtain, you can provide the documents with to the IRB. So you can see here, there is a time for you to make sure that everybody are connected. okay, connected each other, and the information are available to all. And from there, you can see what you need to do in terms of your SOP. Okay, so what you need to do, okay, HR, okay, or maybe project manager receive this, okay, we have this group of foreign workers or even employees, right? Okay, one group will come over. Okay, 1 month before, what you need to do, notify HR, notify what, so that they can do whatever necessary. Okay, as per the compliance life cycle. And we actually assist clients to see their internal SOP and provide our recommendation. What will be the best? Actually, oh, okay, where is your SOP relating to submission of CP22A? CP22A. CP22A is for termination employees or retiring employees or death of employees. There is a situation where the foreign workers death. You are not only liable for other other laws, which is a protection law for the foreign workers, but also must comply with tax law as well. Okay, so what else? Reverse form, whatsoever. This is where that you need to make sure the SOP correct or not. So everybody will do their own work. When the IRB is come over, there is no more hiccup on the non-compliance. Okay, so of course you must get the early consultation if you have the situation, okay, relating to your employees arrangement, or either foreign workers or even foreign employees, expatriate, or even local employees. Okay, because when we talk about the tax audit by the IRB, they're not only focused for foreigners or foreign workers, they also want to see who are the company's employees. Director, appointed directors. Okay, this is not looking for a director of the company. Yeah, this is the appointment directors. Managers, permanent, part-timer, foreign workers, sponsoring work permit for professional visit pass. Okay, what else? The intern. So all these, you need to understand the tax compliance for this arrangement. If you do have foreigners which is expatriate, then you need to make sure, is it correct in terms of tax compliance? Is it correct how you report the income? Okay, then of course we also we assist and provide our client with payroll services. We manage the payroll reporting for the foreign workers and also comply with the statutory requirement. Okay, so this is where that we are able to assist you. And last but not least, we actually have the immigration as well. So for those foreign workers, we are only able to assist on the online submission for the foreign workers. Okay, because I know that these foreign workers, normally the employer will apply the pass with the immigration. Okay, so all the dealing and liaison is actually between the employer and also with the immigration. Okay, so I think that will be I just covered for today. All right. Then before we end our session, I just want to flesh out this a bit. Hold on, Sean. I just want to share. If you, all right, you want to have more information relating to tax, it's not only for employment tax, for the other tax as well, transfer pricing and others, you can subscribe our mailing list and you can get notified. Okay, and also there is a few, if I'm not mistaken, we have session, the event, we will conduct a webinar on managing and improving indirect tax compliance. Very good exposure on this indirect tax. Okay, there is a rules about the indirect tax because of the SVDP, Social Voluntary Program, kind of that. Okay, so I think I would like to end my talking just now. I think we go to the Q&A session. Over to you, Sean.
Okay, thank you for your insightful discourse. Okay, we have a few questions. The first one here is that question one, maybe you can start off. If the foreign worker or expatriate ends the contract at the beginning of the year, less than 182 days, will the tax rate for that year be resident or non-resident? How would you treat?
Okay, this is where the most of employers say, oh, is it I need to treat as a non-residence rate because less than 182 days. The rule of thumb or general rules must be 182 days in calendar year. When you have this situation, remember I already told you just now we have 4 tests. For this situation, we fall for another second test. So you need to see whether you are able to qualify with the condition. If this person actually 100% or 182 days consecutive years, prior years, I would say, in 2021 example, this person left February 2022. In 2021, from 1st July up to 31st December 2021, 182 consecutive days, this person in Malaysia. Then you can treat this person as a resident. Great. But if this person actually from period 1st July up 31st December is go up from Malaysia less than, more than 14 days for vacation, that one, no. So treat as a non-resident. Okay, so there is a condition to comply for this question.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Right. The next one looks like you say, like any of your Malaysian workers, was there a need to do your monthly deduction, the PCB?
Okay, just now we already know the life cycle. Okay, the tax compliant life cycle for foreigners is also for foreign workers, because if the income, for example, cash, remuneration, wages, allowances, benefit, accommodation, you park everything, okay, for that month, if it's chargeable to tax, and of course, you need to pay tax as per local employees. There is no barrier or even there is no differentiate, foreign workers exception, all the income is tax exempt. No such thing, unfortunately. So you need to help government to collect the revenue. Okay, so I will say there is no such between local and there is no what to say? Racial also
Exemption,
there is no.
yeah.
Yes, there is no exemption. Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, you refer back to the rule.
All right. Let's see if there's another question or not. Okay. Does the employer require the EA form just like normal?
Okay. So for foreign workers, even though or even local employees is not chargeable to tax, you still need to prepare and provide them with the EA. This is what's based on the rules. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Question number 4. Right.
Yeah. Okay. In the event of this foreign workers absconding, again, the employer needs to notify the Inland Revenue Board.
Yes, I would say yes. If you can say, based on the experience and also our participants when we do conduct the trainings, practical part, practical operation. Out of 10, 9, I would say IRB says file, notify abscond case, provide the documents and get the clearance done. So that is where the IRB actually advise. And also, if you are aware as well, inside the employer's remuneration, employer's return, the Form E, there is a section. If you notify for people cease or depart from Malaysia, there is a one section. Yes or no, you need to answer that. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I guess there is another question is tied to this. It's got to do with when do you notify? Because example shown was the last time the MCO, foreign worker went home, and then we closed the borders. He couldn't come back. So when do we tell? We don't know when it's going to be open, when he's going to come back or not. So how do we?
Good question, actually, Sean. All right, it's more practical. Okay, so based on the IRB's rules itself, inside the section 83.4, they stated that if the employees actually leave Malaysia, leaving Malaysia, right, for more than 3 months, you need to quickly notify already. Okay, so you know that more than 3 months, you quickly notify. If you know that you want to terminate this person, notify straight. Then of course, by right, you need to notify 30 days before the date of departure from Malaysia. So that is the rules. But the concession given, this is the concession, the reason, because this person due to COVID, need to go back. So this is where that you need to do it immediately if you know this person already left more than 3 months. Okay, or maybe you want to terminate.
Yeah, the problem is that we don't know. You see, he's supposed to only go back for, let's say, took leave for 7 days. He went there, and then we shut the border. He's stuck, so he's not. How long do we wait?
Yeah, so because they say 3 months, this person you already the period of 3 months gone. I mean, you already identified. Quickly done, do a necessary,
Okay,
but so this is what they said lah.
Okay.
But unless if you still provide salary to these employees, that one different, meaning that the remuneration still continue, that one is considered not terminate yet. Okay.
Okay, all right, let's see, that's another question.
Yep. Any question? Sean, in the chat box.
Okay, I'll ask. Okay, so there's no okay, right. I think the first question here was from the chat is 182 days inclusive or exclusive of is it only for working days or Saturday, Sunday, public holidays?
All right, great. Okay, 182 days physical presence need to calculate include Saturday, Sunday, public holiday, because it's based on physical presence of the individuals.
Okay. Okay. Irrelevant to holidays because the body is in the country.
Yes, the body is in the country.
Yes. Okay. Yes. When a new staff join into the company, compulsory to submit CP22 to the LHDN. It's a local staff.
Oh, okay. All right. So local staff. When we talk about local employees, right? If this individual chargeable or likely chargeable to tax, employer notifies CP22 to the IRB of the employees branch.
Okay.
Okay.
For those long leave workers and couldn't come in to Malaysia due to COVID, how to declare their tax? Don't really understand this. Maybe the worker has gone back. Like what you addressed. He has gone back and he couldn't come in because there's a lockdown. But if you continue to pay his salary, then you should actually declare the tax, right?
Yes. See, continue. If declare the tax, whatever necessary, okay. But then if really cease assignment, you confirm, terminate, then done. Do a clearance.
And okay, would this tax compliance, the reporting and the taxation, would it apply to foreign white collar, that means the expatriate ones? I guess you have another session for this.
Okay, just a brief one. The tax compliance life cycle applies to all foreigners, foreign employees. It's either foreign workers or even to expats. But there is a few exemption, I would say. For this blue collar, they have the employment pass category and they do have the professional visit pass category. Okay. So the interesting part, actually, those are holding the professional visit pass. So those are employer company sponsor this PVP. Normally they say, oh, these not my employees. They're actually from other countries, so I not do anything. Why? So in the act says you sponsor a permit, you consider a deemed employer to that person. Okay.
Okay. There's one last one here. I think in context of if the tax is borne by the employer, what would the tax rate be? Is it the same for the employer? I mean, the company tax, or it's the personal tax? I think.
Okay.
I don't know which question, which thing that this question is applied to.
Okay, never mind. I think I understand what he's trying to ask. Okay, when the individuals, okay, like us, example, Sean, you pay your own tax. I also pay my own tax. That's the normal local employees offered, correct? But there is a certain category of assignment or employment, right? If either foreign workers, normally it's a foreigners lah, even foreign workers, or is a expatriate. Okay, the tax 100% or part of the tax is borne by the company. Okay, so when we talk about tax of borne by the company, okay, whatever tax that you pay on behalf of the individuals, you need to tax it again. You need to record it
as
again.
a benefit, yes.
Yes.
As a benefit.
So they need to tax it again on one of your item in the gross income. So after you get that value, then after that, the tax rate will be at the chargeable income rate. Meaning you already have a gross income. Then after that, minus off the personal relief or rebates. Then after that, the chargeable income, you need to refer to the tax rate of 0 up to 30% of the individual tax rate, because we are referring to individuals. Okay, so this is where that when the employer borne the tax, the calculation, there is a specific calculation, how to report, how to compute this tax, but then in terms of the tax amount is actually should be together as a whole of gross employment income. Then you tax it based on the tax rate.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay. That seems to be all the questions has been asked. Just a bit of sharing. From personal experience and also from talking to a lot of the small SMEs, it's so onerous. This got to put in time, penalty, this form, that form. Until that's the reason why the SMEs are not encouraged to, I know that on one hand is the revenue and the taxation that the country needs. But because of all this bureaucracy, need to this, comply that, most SMEs, do not have the financial clout to go and pay for payroll people to go and help to do so. If they are struggling with their own business, then they have to be mindful of these things, So they will end up better to hire illegal workers, give them cash at the sideline and be done with it. So it is, in a way, I'm just talking aloud to say that, it's discouraging the objective of collection of revenues. Okay. I'm not really any comment from you on that, right? But it does have a very negative to a small business to be so much compliance, right?
I agree, Sean, actually, because I know that nowadays during the COVID starting, I think started COVID pandemic started, most of the SMEs I can see a lot, and cost is one part, but they still need to comply on this. I just would say, IRB issue the tax audit framework. The minute actually when the COVID pandemic first year of COVID. I said, why? Because they, I actually, maybe the good way is actually want to educate, okay, educate the employer and to make sure that the government can collect those money, okay, from the individuals for employment part. So that's why the government say, I don't want to headache my head and look at each of the individuals who are under employment. Okay, because everything I can just go to the employer and get all the data and done. Correct or not? Okay, so that's why this where that they come from. Okay, so due to the SMEs, I know that for sole proprietor especially, okay, even the individual sole proprietor. So this is where that, you know, if they are not they have no part timer or there is no other employees to help them to manage the business, their own business, is okay. But then if they are paying, there is something again, all the rules still need to comply lah. But at the end of the day, I just want to share the practical one on the experience part. Whatever it is, okay, when you've been audit conducted, okay, by the IRB, please handle it carefully and discuss with the officer. And I believe officer actually have a discretion. Certain cases and area they're actually looking at the reason. Okay, so they are not so mean, I would say, but they just want to make sure be compliance.
Okay. Right. Actually, all this complexity I don't want you guys all to would shoot me lah, but that's why the indirect tax of GST is actually very fair. You don't need all this compliance anymore. Everyone really indirectly pays tax. Yeah. Okay. Last one here. Okay, before we have to go. Okay. Yeah, I know this. When you have an expatriate, you hired, he came into Malaysia. In the meantime, until he finds his own accommodation, you provide accommodation for him. Let's say you pay for 1 week of hotels. So the question here was asking, is this considered a BIK?
Okay, so this is common. Okay, common practice where these expatriate foreigners come over to Malaysia, you park this person in the hotel for 1 or 2 weeks. Right? Then whilst waiting the arrangement for permanent house.
Okay.
For the 1 or 2 weeks, okay, period actually is taxable under hotel accommodation. And this need to report under value of accommodation. There is specific calculation and formula how to tax the value of the hotels when this person stay for 1 week or 2 weeks. Okay, so there is a calculation, the formula. So further details you actually can find in the IRB's website, which is there is a public ruling under value of accommodation. Value of living accommodation. They will explain how to compute the hotel treatment and also the house treatment. Okay.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. That seems to be the only ones left. You can unshare the screen and okay. Yes. Okay. Right. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in. I hope this has been rewarding for you, enlightening also. So as Mona Lisa has stated, don't panic. As long as you are prepared and you can really protect yourself, as long as you're aware, you can, you don't need to be worried that if you are audited, okay. And should you have more queries or situations that you need clarification, then you can contact Crow directly, and they will be more than willing to assist in helping you. Okay, right, Mona Lisa. So see you next. Maybe the next thing is going to come in. There is a SS key, right? The next Crow hour you have shared, right? Okay. So everyone else, so see you next time round. Have a fruitful day. All right.
Thanks, Sean.
Bye.
Bye.